Hello and welcome to the brand new series of On the Bench. For old fans of the show, you'll be pleased to know that we're back with more sports discussion and features from the local sports people and clubs in the Lincolnshire and East Yorkshire region. If you're new to the show, where have you been? Each week we'll be joined by a special guest from the region. Tonight we're delighted to welcome back to the studio Mr Tim Derrick, Hull City commentator and Radio Humberside pundit. Thank you for joining us, Tim. Alongside Tim, you may recognise this familiar face. It's On the Bench Extras Tom Reed. Thanks very much for joining us. On the show tonight, we'll be casting our eye back over a packed summer of events and picking out some of our key moments. We've got highlights from Hull Stingrays' clash with Belfast Giants, and we'll be talking about the latest on Hull City's ongoing ownership spectacle. That's all to come, but first let's round up the scores from across the region in Team Talk. Mixed fortunes in the football over the weekend, with wins from Grimsby Town and Lincoln City in the conference, but defeats for Hull City in the Premiership and Scunthorpe in League One. Saturday also saw the end of the FA Cup dream for Cleethorpes Town as an own goal from Lawrence Heward and a goal from Nathan Jarman just after the break saw the Owls go out with a 2-1 defeat against North Ferriby. In ice hockey, Hull Stingrays started the weekend with a 6-1 win over Nottingham Panthers on Saturday, but then lost to Braehead Clan 2-0 on Sunday. In rugby union, Market Raisin suffered a heavy defeat, losing to Sinston 2012. Hull lost to Chester 32-0, Cleethorpes beat Skegness 29-20 and Grimsby lost 44-5 to Nottingham Moderns. And finally, in lacrosse, Hull won 29-2 against Stoke. Hull handed debuts to James Agar, Malcolm Kent, Danny Eckersall and Dan Thompson, so a promising start for them. So certainly a topsy-turvy weekend for our local clubs. Let's pick up on that result for Hull City on Saturday. Tim, did you get to see the game?
I went to see the game, yeah. It was an absolutely fantastic advert for Premier League football, to be honest. City were slow starting. Within 10 minutes, they were 2 goals down, 2 quality goals from Man City, to be honest. And after that, the midfield started to sort of find their feet a little bit, and players like Huddleston and Livermore, and to a greater extent, Diarme, really got a foothold in the game. And by half-time, City were level, which was an absolutely superb comeback from the Tigers. Second half, Man City's class just really told. There were opportunities for both sides. Hull City were unlucky. Huddleston came very close to putting City 3-2 ahead. But to be quite honest with you, Man City, I mean, what's their squad worth? 300, 400 million pounds? It's ridiculous.
Not even worth thinking about.
It doesn't bear thinking about. And so to be quite honest with you, on chances, Man City deserved to win. On balance of play, I think a draw would have been a fair result. But you know,
that's the Premier League for
exactly,
you.
Yeah.
So the situation regarding ownership with Hull City is ongoing. Here's a quick clip from Assam Alam's press conference last week.
We have also begun the appeal against the FA's decision via arbitration, Court of Arbitration Sports, and we are hopeful of a positive outcome or that the FA reconsider their decision. Until the conclusion of the appeal or the sale, whichever comes first, the appeal or the sale, whichever comes first, we will remain fully committed to the club. When I say whichever comes first, if the appeal comes first, okay, no harm done. If a sales come first, sold.
Tim, what are your thoughts on the press conference?
Oh gosh, the press conference seemed to take forever. I mean, I listened to little bits of it, and it dragged on a little bit. It was a strange the whole situation was a little bit strange. It felt a little bit like it was designed to allow Assam Alam the opportunity to sort of once again put his case forward for why he thinks the name change is important. But from a fan's point of view, I think most Hull City fans are just tired of it now. I mean, I for one, am pretty fed up of talking about the name change or the possible name change. And for better or for worse, and sooner rather than later, hopefully, the whole situation will be put to bed, and either Hull City will be called Hull Tigers, or Assam Alam will sell the club.
Yeah, well, that's obviously the decision that's going to, you know, one will come quicker than the other, and that's basically going to make the decision for him. Tom, what are your thoughts on it? Because the City Till We Die Trust have actually said to the fans after the West Ham game, please sing and support your manager, but no booing. So what are your thoughts on that one?
You can't ask fans not to boo. I mean, obviously they're entitled to express their opinion. They've paid money to go and watch it. If you go to the theatre and see a naff show, you can say that was, you know what I mean? You can express that. So you can't say sing and not boo.
Yeah.
As long as it's in good taste, you can express your feelings.
I think the difficulty is that then affecting Hull City's performance?
I would imagine so.
Without question. I mean, the game against West Ham where the booing actually happened in the stadium, the game after that went completely flat, and West Ham were able to get back into the game, and as a result, I think you can't argue that the sort of conflict within the stadium definitely impacted on the result of that game.
Yeah. And Tom, how do you see it turning out? Because as we've said, it's going to be one or the other. What are your thoughts?
I think fans are sick of it, and like Tim, I'm bored of talking about it. I don't know. I think it'll get rejected, to be honest. I do. They've made a decision once. I don't think they'll change their mind now. They look like numpties.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to have to sell the club.
Yeah. And Tim, just quickly, what do you think the fans are going to feel? Is it a favoured option to sell the club?
No, not at all. I think Asamoah's done an amazing job since he came into Hull City. To be honest, he's turned the club's fortunes around. I mean, I'm someone who goes to the games, and I've seen such a huge change off the field, let alone on the field. But if you look at what's happened on the field, I mean, goodness gracious me. The guy's ploughed so much money in. I just wish the whole thing would go away, to be completely honest, and hopefully this season it will.
Fingers crossed. I think you two, along with thousands of Hull City fans as well. Thank you for your viewpoints on that one. So, sticking with football for the time being, statistics revealed by the Home Office recently revealed some unsavoury news regarding the number of banning orders on fans at local clubs, with Grimsby Town hitting the headlines, having received 38 banning orders last season, compared to some Premiership clubs, Everton with 30, Hull City with 34. Were you shocked by this statistic, Tom?
Well, actually it was, yeah. I mean, clubs on our doorsteps, it don't look great, does it? But I think it's the ratio of fans attending the game to the amount that I've got it. And I think Newcastle have got the most. But in terms of ratio, yeah, it's quite shocking, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it's a high percentage of our fans, actually, isn't it, Tim?
Shockingly high, yeah. It was unbelievable when you consider. I mean, to be fair, Grimsby's gates aren't exactly small, certainly for the division that they find themselves in. But yeah, I mean, it just seems like a huge amount of people being banned from football matches. I mean, what are these people doing?
But I'll be honest, when I've gone to the games, I've not seen any trouble. I don't see it. Where are these banning orders coming from?
Maybe they're historic? I don't know.
Possibly.
Do you think it's something maybe that the stewards could help with? Is it kind of our way or the highway, rather than kind of being softer with the fans maybe? I don't know, Tom.
I don't know their sort of policy and the routines they do during the game, but it might be errors from stewards. I mean, I think they're pretty good, to be honest, from what I've seen. I think they do a good job.
Yeah, one thing that I will say is that stewarding definitely at football grounds can be inconsistent. I've seen it myself at Hull City, where you have certain sections of fans who are standing up, and that's not allowed. But then there are other sections of fans who are told to sit down, and there's just little things like that can frustrate you as a football fan, especially when your team's losing.
Yeah. So do you think that's quite a big factor, actually? Is Grimsby Town's performance the last couple of seasons been quite frustrating as a fan? So do you think that's impacted on their behaviour, do you think?
Yeah, we said before the show, didn't we? It's probably performance that's obviously frustrating the fans, and how do they express that frustration? They can boo.
No, they can't.
Well. So yeah, maybe they're sort of doing other things, I don't know, but I guess the fans are frustrated.
Yeah. Tim, do you think it's quite an unfair reflection on Grimsby Town fans? Because actually, like we say, it is a high percentage. Is it just a case of bad stewarding?
I'm sorry, statistics don't lie. Sorry, Grimsby Town fans. No, I'm sure it's. To be honest, it's something and nothing. As far as I'm concerned, I'm sure the vast, overwhelming majority of Grimsby Town fans support their team 100%, get behind their club, and they keep turning up in great numbers, despite the club not doing as well as probably it should have done in the last 2 seasons.
And what about when they go away from home? So we had this incident a few weeks ago with at Lincoln. So what about the behaviour then? Is that expected to carry on through, do you think, Tom?
No, I think that's just, with that being such a high-intensity derby game, you know, tempers might flare. I'm not saying it's right, but it happens, I think. Obviously, it's a minority of fans. It's not far from all the fans. Yeah. You'll get cases of it, I'm sure, but, you know, it doesn't reflect the whole fan base.
Yeah, I mean, you do seem to get that with derbies, don't you? It's kind of comes with the territory.
Then, to be honest, then you throw alcohol into the mix, and you know, anything can happen, can't it? And that's probably the biggest problem. I mean, people turning up to football matches under the influence of alcohol. That's probably your big statistic, or the big worry for me would be that.
When fans see players obviously doing similar things on a pitch, you know what I mean, kicking out at each other or swearing and having a go at other players, I mean, you know, it happens in these derby games.
I mean, do you think that that's going to put off families coming? Because obviously, if you've got a young kid that's impressionable, like you say, seeing players on the pitch, kicking out, swearing at the ref, getting in their faces, they're then going to transfer that into their normal life. Do you think that's going to put families off from taking the kids to the football?
Well, possibly. I mean, obviously, again, it's certain areas of the ground, certain stands where these fans want to go. It's not in every stand. I say I've barely seen it, so The odd family might be put off, but I wouldn't imagine so.
Someone should tell Wayne Rooney that, though, shouldn't he, after what he did on Saturday?
Yeah, and he's apologised, he's the bigger man.
He has, of course he has. Well, he didn't have much choice, did he? He
No.
nearly took the player's right hip off.
And what do you think it's doing for Grimsby Town's reputation in their league and also across the country when they're playing bigger teams?
I think the support for Grimsby Town is quite well known and it's quite prestigious. I mean, obviously it's got a massive away support for the league that the club are in. And I think it's only got really good reviews of the fan base and the following support. But again, it's minorities and people there. I'm sure it happens at other clubs as well. But because we're not in that region, we don't hear it here, do we?
Yeah. So what do you think, Tim, can be done from going forward with this?
Well, it's a really good question. I don't really know what you can do about it other than...
Ban them.
Well, make sure these banning orders are enforced. Let's do that. I don't know. To be honest, it's up to the individual person. You know when you're doing right and when you're doing wrong. So as much as the stewards can do, as an individual, if you go into a football match, maybe just don't drink as much alcohol. But
I suppose all the stewards are doing is enforcing the laws, so...
Yeah.
Exactly,
it's up to the fans themselves. Oh, well, hopefully, thank you very much for your viewpoints on that one. Very controversial as normal with Grimsby Town, but hopefully we can get some sort of order by the end of the season. So let us know your thoughts. If you want to tweet us, you can do so at On The Bench TV. That's all we've got time for. Join us after the break for more from our guests, plus highlights from Hull Stingrays' clash with Belfast Giants. Welcome back to the show. Let's get straight into some highlights that have been kindly supplied to us by the Hull Stingrays. Here's all the action from last week's clash with the Belfast Giants. Enjoy this.
Strong play from Galbraith. Stingrays back in possession. Galbraith is bursting forward and he's in behind Mason. Eric Galbraith! There's the start the Stingrays wanted. Stingrays coming in 2 to winning it, but it's McCutcheon who gets it back to Surrett, whose shot was skinned to the skates. Oh, and there's another penalty coming. Compon trying to take it down the boards. Knocked off his feet by Chilcott. And Chilcott is to this first, and we've got another penalty coming. And it is a tripping minor. And this time it is the Stingrays who will go to the box. And indeed it is Jamie Chilcott who will have to sit for a couple of minutes. Nice pass from Compon to Surrett, and the shot is saved, and Brown scrambling after it. He can't cover it up, and it's been knocked in on the backhand by Peacock. Brown made the stop, but scrambling after it, he couldn't get onto it. And the Giants have tied it up with a power play goal of their own. Craig Peacock's got it, and we are tied up. Stingrays don't get it out again, it's flipped into the crowd, and it'll be Lark who moves it clear, and Meyer who takes it across the blue line. Looking for the pass across, tipped, deflected and saved. Davis's shot was blocked by Murphy, and the follow-up from Meyer went wide. And your Giants are on the power play at the moment. Peacock, scorer of the equaliser. Sawada, Elfring, Shields! Oh, what a shot! Slap shot along the ice. And in off the near post, and Colin Shields is at it again. Ready to go with a puck drop. The start of the second period, and first possession for Cody Brookwell, who flips it nearly out of play onto the Stingrays bench, but it does just stay in play. And the Stingrays will have to play it out of their own zone. And we're in the early stages here. The Stingrays are in blue and yellow, the Giants in white and teal. And Adam Keefe is after this one. On to Chevery, given a little shove by Lozon, who tries to lift the stick, but Chevery stays in possession. He's moving into a dangerous area, and the wrist shot goes past David Brown and past the far post. And now the Stingrays will come forward for the first time in the period. Tanaka's shot from the angle, rebounds out for Chartrain, and that's fired into the glove. And then it's covered up by Stephen Murphy. Shields to the far side, Turcotte can't reach this one. Big collision, and Turcotte is going to go for that one. The hit is made, the Giants player is down. Shot is charged down, Davis will take it on. Mason's trying to catch him, he won't catch Davis, but Davis won't get the shot off. And there is no penalty called, and the Stingrays bench and fans are not happy with that. Elfring. Elfring allowed to bring it in and shoot, and it took a deflection and loops up and away to the far side of the rink. Elfring again, room to shoot. Oh, a flat pass to the far side, and a great diving save, but the follow-up is put in. It's Sawada with the goal, and the power play works again for the Belfast Giants. They've got 3 with a man advantage. And Meyer holding off his man well. Opportunity, Lozon, big chance, short-handed goal! This game is not over yet. Carl Lozon has made sure of that. But they shouldn't have got the whistle in the first place. It's all about who's going to reach the puck first. And the Stingrays were up ice. With the Giants chasing after it, they would surely have negated an icing call. It's not automatic. And with just 7 seconds to go, this should be enough. The Stingrays are going to have to win the draw, charge to the blue line and unleash a long shot. They do try and force it through. The puck is in the zone, but the Giants will get to it. Elfring will kill the final ticks, and that is it. The Giants are winners against the Stingrays for the 21st time in a row.
Thanks to the Stingrays for sending that in. If you have highlights that you want us to show, get in touch with our production team, they're quite nice, via email. That's onthebench@estuary.tv. If you liked what you saw there, Hull Stingrays are at home against the Dundee Stars on Sunday the 5th of October at 6 p.m. at the Hull Arena. Try and get along and just give them a bit of support. Let's now turn our attention back to the amazing summer of sport that we've just had, and we just wanted to find out from our guests what they enjoyed about the summer of sport, and perhaps we can look ahead about what's coming up in the season. So Tim, what was your highlight from the summer?
Oh God, there's so much, isn't there? I mean, no, I won't touch on the World Cup because I know you're going to have a little bash at that. The biggest thing that happened for me in the summer, I'm a massive cricket fan, so England were in disarray. Alistair Cook's job was in jeopardy, and effectively England managed to turn it around. Thanks in no small part to a Yorkshireman, Joe Root, who had an absolute, and Gary Ballance to be fair, but Joe Root who had an absolutely stunning summer. I mean, he was superb, and he's a key player for England. And as I say, Test cricket in England was looking dodgy. Now it's looking healthy.
Yeah, do you think Alistair Cook can turn it around?
I think he already has. Test level, I think he has. I think I'm sort of in the Graham Swan, Michael Vaughan camp when it comes to his one-day position in the team. I don't think he should be one-day captain. I don't think he should be in the one-day team, full stop. But from a Test point of view, which is, for me is where it's at, he's absolutely the right man for the job, and I'm sure he'll do a great job going forward.
Perfect, thank you. And Tom, what's your highlight?
Yeah, as Tim said, I'll have a bash at the World Cup. Obviously, it only comes around every 4 years, so you've got to highlight that. Despite England being poor, absolutely poor, I think as a whole, it was a great World Cup. Holland were refreshing, and then obviously Wimbledon as well. Andy Murray went up to scratch really, but again, it was a great tournament. I enjoyed watching that.
Yeah, and what about moving forward with England? What are your thoughts?
Where do I start?
Honestly, I thought the game against Switzerland was a real sort of. I enjoyed that game, and I don't enjoy watching England very often.
To be honest, I enjoyed that performance.
Yeah,
actually,
it's good.
Yeah, it was. Why can't we do that in a World Cup? Why?
Because it's England. We don't perform well under pressure.
Yeah,
That's true. That's true.
I don't know. That was, he got the formation right. The players played well, and Danny Welbeck up top was absolutely superb.
Yeah. Any players of the tournament, Tom?
What? Any players?
From England or
wow.
any
No,
Holland
none from
really
me.
stood out from you?
Oh, Robin van Persie's goal was goal of the World Cup for me.
Oh, what a goal!
Exactly.
Oh, I loved that goal.
He knows which one.
Yeah, the header.
Yeah.
Oosh, yeah, I loved it. It was brilliant.
Right, we're going to move on to the papers. So you've been picking out some of your stories from the local papers this week. So Tim, you've picked out...
I picked out a story. You actually missed it. I've picked out a story on Hull City. It's over there. Sorry. Basically, at the moment, there's a bit of an issue with Hull City's defence. They're conceding lots and lots and lots of goals. I mean, fair enough against Man City, you can get away with conceding 4 goals. I mean, they've got Aguero and Dzeko and people like that in there, and Lampard, by the way, in their starting lineups. So, but Robertson, who's a player we've signed in the summer, Andy Robertson, left back. I'm calling him the young or the next Gareth Bale because he's in that mould. He's an attacking fullback and he tends to maraud forward. He's come out in an interview after the game and said he's sure that our defence will soon be fine. Well, I don't share his optimism, to be quite honest with you. Defensively, we've been a little bit suspect. We've brought some amazing players in. Michael Dawson is obviously an amazing signing for Hull City. So that's the story that I've picked up on. There's lots and lots of other stuff I could have bashed at, but Robertson saying, I'm sure our defence will soon be fine. I thought that was a nice headline.
Okay, lovely. Thank you very much. And Tom?
I'm looking at the back of the Grimsby Telegraph. You've got Sean Pearson. Looks like he just had his favourite tune come on. But next to that, Cleetown, obviously North Ferriby. It has got a bit more coverage, but I would have thought it would have had more. Obviously, it was a real local clash in the FA Cup. Again, it's the magic of the FA Cup. I think it's lost on some of the big teams, but for smaller teams like that, I think it's a great story to have on the back page.
Yeah.
I have to chip in there. I have to say, I think you're right. I think that did deserve more sort of coverage than it's got in any of the newspapers that I've looked at. Yeah, so yeah. And it was a good result in the end for Ferriby. I think they probably deserve to win on the balance of play by all accounts.
Yeah.
And also, how bad must Lawrence Heward feel with their own goal, obviously, for this game? It's such a big game for the FA Cup for Clee Town. But moving forward then, they've got this new signing from Grimsby Town that's coming on loan. So how do you think that he's going to get on?
Well, yeah, they obviously brought Jack Barlow in as our former Hull City lad. So they are getting quality. Look at the division they're in. I think they're 2 or 3 away from where North Ferriby are.
Yeah.
So they're going in the right direction.
Well, he's only 18, is he 18 or
yeah,
something like that? So it's a great opportunity for him to
and
get
obviously
some experience.
he's scoring goals already as well.
So what do you think the future holds for Cleethorpes Town then, Tim?
Oh, goodness gracious me. To be honest, it's a level of football that I just don't follow. So I would hope that that obviously they can continue to bring in players from the local area, from the likes of Grimsby Town and Scunthorpe United, and perhaps even North Ferriby United, to just to blood a few local youngsters, then that's got to be a good thing for them. But to be absolutely honest, I don't know a great deal about the division that they're in. So.
Okay. And Tom, just quickly, why do you think it was so special for the area, this game?
Well, how often do Clee Town and their players get to play in the FA Cup? And obviously North Ferriby as well, even at their level. I mean, I think they want to go one better and reach the first round proper. So even for them, it's something they can look forward to. And obviously, it's a great achievement.
Brilliant. So onwards and upwards for Cleethorpes Town, hopefully. Great. Thank you very much for that one, gents. We're almost out of time this week. Thanks ever so much to both of our guests, Tim and Tom, for joining us in the studio. Before we go, we've just got time for Reedy's monologue. Take it away.
Right, as I said, Clee Town's FA Cup run ended this weekend, but as one door closes, another door opens as North Ferriby knocked them out with a 2-1 victory. The whole region hoping Billy Heath's men can go one step further this season. There's been an abundance of golf this week as the Ryder Cup came to an end. Joy for this side of the Atlantic as Europe beat the US at Glen Eagles. The world number 1 is already looking ahead to 2016 and maybe inspiring young golfers all over the country. In Formula 1, Lewis Hamilton now leads the pack for the first time since May. I'm sure Hamilton now has aspirations to win the title. You'll have to let us know what you think to his chances. Frank Lampard is still proving a worthy asset to any team as he scored 4 goals in 3 games for Manchester City. The powers that be at Chelsea are surely kicking themselves, despite the club still topping the table and proving why I chose them as favourites for the title. A mixed bag of league results for the local football sides at the weekend. Another win for Grimsby, but defeat for Scunthorpe and Hull. A contrasting season to the last for the area. A few loan deals may help that situation. And finally, the profile of women's football has been raised further as Assam Alam is sponsoring Hull City Ladies, a team I've recently been to meet. So if you're a woman and like playing football, there's never been a better time to get involved.
Thank you very much for that one, Tom. I'm a woman, I like football. Maybe I'll give Assam a call. Right, well, if you want to get in touch with the show, you can do on Twitter @OnTheBenchTV and also on Facebook, just search for On The Bench TV. You can also email us onthebench@estuary.tv and we'll see you next week. Thanks so much.